Good morning. Today we'll be studying the fourth chapter of Tefila, Birkat Cohanim, and this chapter deals with different qualifications and requirements for the Tefila in order for an individual's Tefila to truly be considered Tefila under Jewish law. Hilchot Tefila, Perek Dalet Halacha Aleph. Hamisha Devarim Ya'akivim et Tefila. There are 5 requisites for Tefila, and the absence of one of the following hinder a person to fulfill his obligation. Despite the fact that its proper time has arrived in order for an individual to pray. And they are the following. Taharat hayadayim, purification of the hands. V'chisui ha'irva, covering one's private parts. V'taharat mekom tefila, the purification of the place of prayer. Udvarim ha'chofzin oto, things that may distract a person. V'chavanat halev, and the focus or concentration of the mind. And again, without one of the following, an individual must go back and his tefillah, and we'll see exactly the details, but his tefillah is not considered valid according to Jewish law. Halakha bet. Taharat hayadayim kitzad. How is the condition of the cleanliness of the hands fulfilled? Rohet yadav b'mayim ad ha'perek v'achar kach yitpalel. Individual must wash his hands up until his wrists, and only after can he pray. And this washing of the hands obviously is with a beracha, as it says in Hilchot Berachot Perek Vav Halakha Bet, that anytime an individual washes his hands prior to Tefillah or Kriyat Shema, it is with a beracha. Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll see that in the coming weeks. Haya me'elech b'derech v'yigia zman tefillah v'lo haya lo mayim. If an individual was traveling and the time for tefillah arrived and he didn't have water to wash his hands, im haya beno uven hamayim arba'at milin, if between him and the water were 4 mil, shehem shemonat alafim amma, that is 8,000 ammot, it's around 4 kilometers. He has to go towards the locale, to the locale of the water and washes his hands, and only after can he pray. However, if there was more than 4 mil between him and the water, he wipes his hands on a rock or with dust or on a beam, and then he prays. Gimel, when is this said? When the water is in the direction that the traveler is going. However, if the locale of the water was behind him and not the direction that he was traveling in, we only require an individual to go back 1 mil. However, if he was traveling and he passed the place of the water and the distance exceeded more than 1 mil, he isn't obligated to go back. Rather, he should wipe his hands either, like we mentioned, on a rock or on the floor, and then he can pray. When is this said that an individual only must wash his hands for prayer? In all of the other prayers aside from the morning prayer, shahrit. However, shaharit, an individual must wash his face, hands, and feet, and only after that does he pray. And this is a little bit reminiscent of the Cohanim, that the Cohanim would have to wash their hands, face, and feet before they would do the worship in the Beit HaMikdash. Maybe another similarity between tefillot keneged korbanot. However, again, if an individual is far from the water, he should wipe his hands and then he can pray. Anyone who is considered tameh or impure, and Be'ezrat Hashem will see the laws of Hilchot Tumah and Tahara when we get to them. Again, that anyone who is tameh washes their hands only, and then he prays just like someone who is tahor. Despite the fact that all they need to do is to dip in a mikveh and they'll rid themselves of their tum'ah, the tefillah does not hold back an individual from tefillah. And again, anyone who's tameh only has to wash his hands. And as we mentioned before in Hilchot Kriyat Shema in the end, that Ezra instituted that someone who had a seminal emission is not allowed to read or recite the words of Torah until he does Tefillah. And the court after Ezra also instituted that a Baal Keri cannot pray. That only a Baal Keri is not allowed to is not allowed to pray until he does Tefillah. And this rule isn't related to the laws of Tum'ah and Tahara necessarily. Rather, this rule was instituted so that the scholars in Talmidei Chachamim would not be with their wives frequently like the roosters are. And as a result, they established the fact that a Baal Keri has to do Tevilah, and only a Baal Keri, and they set him aside from the rest of the Timeim. In this, they set him aside from the other Timeim in this fact alone. Therefore, the people that lived in the time of this institution said, that anyone who had an abnormal emission, and a woman that was in her cycle who had a seminal discharge, or a woman during relations who began her cycle, that all of these people require Tevilah for Kriyat Shema and Tefillah as a result of their emission, even though they are tameh. And this also complies with reason. That this Tevilah is not because of Tum'ah and Tahara, rather it is because of the Gezeran, the institution, that Chachamim didn't want, that the Chachamim didn't want the other Talmidei, that the court didn't want the Talmidei Chachamim with their wives too frequently. However, this institution of Ezra and the court that followed was cancelled basically for Tefillah as it was for Kriyat Shema, because it didn't spread throughout Israel, and the community of Israel wasn't able to hold by this institution. It was too difficult for the community to keep this institution. Halacha Vav. Minhag Pashut Bisfarad Vishin'ar is a widespread practice in Iraq and in Spain. She'en Ba'al Keri Mitpallel, Ad Shehu Rohet Kol Besar B'mayim, that anyone who is a Ba'al Keri does not pray until he washes all of his body in water. Mishum Kon Likrat Elohecha Yisrael, as a result of the pasuk that in Amos that says, "Prepare for the coming of your God Israel." When is this said? This is said only in regard to the healthy person or a sick person who had relations. However, an individual who had an involuntary emission is not obligated to wash. It's exempt from this washing. The custom doesn't apply to this type of individual. Similarly, an individual who had an abnormal emission, or a woman in her cycle who had a seminal discharge, and the custom doesn't apply to them either. Rather, they wipe themselves and wash their hands, but just like anyone else, and they pray. Now the next qualification of tefillah. Kitsui ha'erva ketzad. How's the condition of covering oneself apply? Even though an individual covered himself just as he covers himself for Kriyat Shema, an individual should not pray until he covers his chest. If an individual did not cover his chest, or he was stuck and doesn't have anything to cover himself with, even if he, as a result of him covering himself and not his chest, and he prayed already, he fulfilled his obligation. However, deliberately, an individual should not pray with his chest uncovered. Taharat mekum tefila ketzad. How is the condition of the cleanliness of the place of prayer fulfilled? Lo yitpalel bimkom hatinofet, velo b'merchatz, velo bebet hakiseh, velo be'ashpa, velo b'makom she'eno b'chizkat tahara ad sheyivdaken. An individual cannot pray in a place where there's filth, nor in a bathhouse, nor in a bathroom, nor in a place that there's a lot of garbage, nor in a place that has that doesn't have the presumption of cleanliness until he checks it. The general rule is the following: any place that an individual cannot pray Kriyat Shema there, cannot say Kriyat Shema there rather, he is prohibited from praying there as well. And just as an individual must distance himself from excrement and urine and bad smell and from a dead body and from seeing something inappropriate for Kriyat Shema, the same rules apply for tefillah. He must distance himself in the same way for Kriyat Shema. Halakha tet. Itpalel umatzah tzo'ah bimkomo. If an individual prayed and found excrement in the place that he prayed, or il vechatta mipnei shelo badak ad shelo hitpalel, hozer mitpalel b'makom tahor. Because he transgressed, because he didn't check the place that he prayed properly, he must go back and repeat the Amidah that he prayed in a clean place. If an individual is standing in the middle of his prayer and saw excrement in front of him, if an individual can walk past this excrement, and it would be 4 cubits behind him, he should walk straight and do so. Ve'im lav yisallekenu letzedadin. If he can't, he should move sideways from the excrement. Ve'im eno yachol yafsik. And if he can't move sideways or walk in front of it 4 amot so that it'll be behind him, he should stop his tefillah. גדולי החכמים לא היו מתפללים בבית שיש בו שיכר ולא בבית שיש בו מוריס בעת איפושו. מפני שלכאורה, אף על פי שהמקום טהור. The greatest of the sages would not pray in a house that had an alcoholic beverage and not in a house that had a strong smelling sauce made out of fish, because its smell was very bad. It's the same with the alcohol, even though the actual place that he's standing is clean. And just to show you the meticulousness of the Chachamim, that they would go to such great lengths in order to retain the cleanliness and purification of the tefillah. And all of these qualifications are in order, obviously, to put an individual in the right mindset for prayer, and for an individual to truly be able to focus on his tefillah. Halacha Yod. Devarim ha'chofzin oto ketzad. How is the condition of things that are distracting to him fulfilled? Obviously not things that are distracting, rather to remove things that are distracting from him. She'im haya tzarich lin kavav lo yitpalel. That if an individual had to relieve himself, he cannot pray. V'chol hatzarich lin kavav yitpalel tefilato to'eva v'chozer u'mitpalel achar sheya'aseh tzerachav. That anyone who prayed while needing to relieve himself, his tefillah is considered an abomination and must pray again after he relieves himself. However, if he can hold himself for the distance of walking 4 mil, which is about 96 minutes, his tefillah is a proper tefillah. Despite this fact, the individual should not pray until he examines himself and check if he needs to relieve himself and remove any saliva or phlegm and anything that may disturb him from the tefillah, and only after can he pray. Should he pray, rather. Halacha Yod Aleph. Anyone who stretched or yawned or sneezed during his tefillah. If it was at his discretion, it's improper and it is looked down upon. If an individual did examine himself and examined his body before he prayed, but it came upon him unwillingly, it's not looked down upon, and there isn't it's not such a big deal. Nizdamen lo rok bitfilah mavli'o betalito o bevigdo. If saliva accumulated for this person during his tefillah, he'd spit it in a garment or in his you should spit it in his garment or in a cloth. She spit it, in his garment or in his cloth. ואם היה מצטער מכך, זורקו בידו לאחריו, כדי שלא יצטער בתפילה ונמצא טרוד. However, if an individual would be bothered that his clothes would become dirty and disgusting if he spits it in his clothes, he should cast it aside him or behind him in order for him not to be bothered in his tefillah, and he'll be distracted. יצא ממנו רוח מלמטה, כשהוא עומד בתפילה שלא לדעתו. If an individual released air from below when he was standing in his tefillah unknowingly, shotek עד שתכלה הרוח וחוזר לתפילתו. He pauses until the air is released, and then he returns and continues praying. If an individual needed to release air from below, and retaining it is very difficult for him, and he can't hold himself, he walks backwards 4 cubits, waits until the air is released, and says the following in the middle of his tefillah: Lord of the world, you formed us with holes and cavities. It is known before you our shame and embarrassment. As you know, our embarrassment and disgrace during our lives, and even more so when we are dead, as our corpses are turned into worms and rot after we pass away. And then he returns to his place and prays. Chayot Gimel. If an individual was standing during his prayer and a few drops of urine dropped on him, he should wait until the dripping has ceased, and then he should return to his tefillah that he stopped at. But if an individual waited the sufficient amount for him to complete his prayer, for the dripping to stop, he returns and prays again. Yodaled. Similarly, anyone who urinated before the tefillah pauses in order for the interval it takes to walk 4 amot, and then he should pray in order for nothing to drip. But anyone who finished praying, anyone who finished praying waits the time it takes to walk 4 cubits, and only then does he urinate, in order for there to be an interval between his prayer and his relieving himself. Halacha tetvav. Kavanat halev kitzad. How is the condition of the proper focus and mindset fulfilled? Kol tefillah she'ena bekavana, ena tefillah. First, you should know that any tefillah that does not have with it the proper focus is not a tefillah. Ve'im yitpalel belo kavana, chozer mitpalel bekavana. And if an individual did not have proper focus during his tefillah, he must re-pray that tefillah and return and pray again. Matzah da'ato mishubeshet v'libo tarud, asur lo litpalel ad sheyityashev da'ato. If an individual's thoughts are confused and his mind is distracted, he is prohibited from praying until he recovered his mental composure. Lefikach haba min haderech v'hu ayef o metzer. Therefore, anyone who came from a long travel and he is tired and distressed, asur lo litpalel ad sheyityashev da'ato. He is prohibited from praying until he has recovered his composure. And again, something that we should have in mind, that traveling in those days was extremely, extremely stressful, and it was difficult because an individual would be going outside and would be traveling, and there would be many, many bandits, and it's pretty well known that the traveling was something that was very, very dangerous back in the day. The individual would truly be distressed after traveling for such a long time. Amru Chachamim, the sages said, that the sages said that an individual should rest and calm himself for 3 days before after traveling, and only then should he pray, as it would truly be traumatic for someone to travel, and he would really need time to recover his composure. Ketzad hi hakavana? How specifically is this kavanah? What are we referring to here? Sheyipaneh libo mikol hamachshavot. That an individual must clear his mind from any thoughts. And he should view himself and think that he is standing before the divine presence of God. Therefore, an individual must sit and relax a little bit before his tefillah in order for him to be properly focused. And only after should an individual pray gently and beseechingly. And you shouldn't make his tefillah as somebody who has a burden on his shoulders and just casts it away and throws it and walks away, like someone who's just getting rid of his obligation. Rather, it should be something that an individual focuses on and does out of reverence and respect. Therefore, an individual must sit a little bit after his tefillah, and only after should he leave. Hasidim harishonim hayu shohin sha'a kodem hatefillah v'sha'a achar hatefillah, ma'arichin b'tefillah sha'a. The early pious ones would focus and meditate, if you will, an hour before tefillah and an hour after tefillah, and would spend an hour on their tefillah, really focusing and meditating on their tefillah before, after, and during the tefillah. Halakha Yod Zayin. And this is possibly something that is reflected from tefillot keneged korbanot. And if an individual truly wants to go deep, there are a lot of these, the qualifications that we see in this chapter, and the qualifications that we'll see in the next chapter that do have an element of the worship of the Beit HaMikdash. As we mentioned before, the washing of the hands is something the Cohanim would do, and the covering of oneself. And as we'll see in this halakha, I'll try and point them out as much as I can, but it is a little bit difficult because of the time restraint of the class. Halakha Yod Zayin, Shikor ayit. Someone who is drunk is not allowed to pray because he cannot focus properly. And if he did pray, his tefillah is an abomination, just like somebody who prayed and needed to relieve himself. Therefore, an individual must return and repeat his tefillah when he is recovered from his drunkenness. Shatui al yitpalel. An individual who has alcohol in his system but is not yet drunk should not pray either. Ve'im yitpalel tefilato to'eva. But if he did pray, his tefillah is considered a tefillah. Ezehu shikor ve'ezehu shatui. What is considered a shikor and what is considered a shatui? Shikor zeh she'eno yachol ledaber bifnei hamelech. Shikor is anyone who cannot stand before a king and properly and coherently speak. Veshatui zeh she'yachol ledaber bifnei hamelech ve'eno mishtabesh. Shatui is somebody who can stand before a king and speak coherently and not have his words all confused. Afal piken, despite this fact, if an individual drank a revi'it of wine, which is 1/4 of a log, which is about 75 centimeters cubed according to Harambam, he should not, any individual who drank a revi'it of wine again is not allowed to pray until the alcohol has been removed from his system. Yod Het. וכן, אין עומדים להתפלל לא מתוך שיחות. And similarly, an individual cannot pray after he was just jesting or playing around, ולא מתוך קלות ראש, and not out of laughter and joking, ולא מתוך שיחה, and not out of a casual, mundane conversation, ולא מתוך מריבה, and not out of quarreling, ולא מתוך כעס, and not out of anger, אלא מתוך דברי תורה. Rather, the individual should only pray after he finished speaking about divrei Torah. ולא מתוך דין הלכה, however, not out of legal debate, אף על פי שהם דברי תורה, despite the fact that it is the words of Torah, כדי שלא יהיה ליבו טרוד בהלכה, in order for him not to be distracted by the legal debate and think about the debate and the law during his tefillah. אלא מתוך דברי תורה שאין בהם עיון. Rather, an individual should pray out of words of Torah that don't have too much of a deep analysis required. For example, already set and ruled upon laws. Halacha Yod Tet. Tefilot shelifrakim. Different prayers that are prayed periodically. You go on Tefilat Musaf, which is like the Musaf service in the Rosh Chodesh, with Tefilat HaMo'adot, and the prayer for Rosh Chodesh and for the holidays. צריך להסדיר תפילתו, ואחר כך עומד ומתפלל כדי שלא ייכשל בה. An individual must rehearse or practice them, and only after can he pray, in order for him not to make a mistake or break down in the middle of his tefillah and not know what to say. Generally, people would pray by heart up until a few hundred years ago, when the printing press was invented, and an individual would truly have to practice and focus on properly reciting the tefillah before he would pray, especially for the prayers that were prayed periodically and infrequently. Halacha Chaf, second to last halacha. Haya me'alech bimkom sakana. If an individual was going in a dangerous place, bimkom gidudei hayot v'listim v'yegia zaman tefillah. If an individual was in a dangerous place and walking where a group, in a place that there is a group of dangerous animals or robbers, and the time of tefillah came, mitpalel baracha achat. He prays one short prayer, vezohi, and it is the following. The needs of your nation Israel are great, but it is difficult for them to focus. May it be the will before you, God, that you give to every single individual according to their livelihood, and to every creation whatever it requires to be sustained, and what is good before you do. Blessed you are, God, that who listens to the prayers. Halacha Chaf Aleph, final halacha. And he prays this prayer while he is walking. And if he can stand in one place and say this prayer, he should do so. And when he arrives to a neighborhood, and when his thoughts are recollected, and when he calms down, and it is still time to pray that prayer that he needed to pray, he goes and returns and prays the tefillah that he missed regularly, and the 19 berachot, just as a normal person would pray.